What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host as always, Adam Perez, coming through once again with a brand new episode review as we're going to go ahead and get into Naomi episode number 3 as this brand new DC television series continues, guys. And we've got a lot to actually get into this week. I was actually a pretty big fan of this episode. I did maybe have one or two scenes in here that I wasn't totally cool with, but for the most part, Naomi definitely does continue to impress me. We are getting an opportunity to kind of see them push the envelope a little bit with special effects in regards to power usage, if you will, especially with Naomi testing out her abilities a little bit, right? Maybe foolishly, or at least a little bit thinking she's got more control than she certainly does. But I love the idea that they're at least playing around with it a little bit. It is kind of cool to kind of see her try and move the rocks earlier in here, opening the safe. I thought actually looked pretty good. But really the strength for this series continues to be just its characters, along with its just really great storytelling, and just really the idea of a great mystery involved too, in regards to unraveling very slowly sort of Naomi's true origin story in here. And I've really appreciated how they've managed to kind of pull it off. We've come to be introduced to new allies now that Zumbado certainly has alongside with him, kind of really expanding his story arc, if you will, his character purpose, giving us an insight. Clearly not doing too well with his other allies and comrades. There seems to be some sort of like resentment towards him, maybe like a failed mission, or maybe a mission that went well but the outcome wasn't exactly what they wanted, and it feels like they find themselves either trapped here on Earth, maybe them wanting to go back home or something like that, knowing that they truly can't. So I am really fascinated to kind of see the full story in regards to who these fellow aliens are, and just how everything went, and truly their connection to Naomi. But I do like what it's doing for the Zumbado character, because the idea of just like him being a used car salesman and things like that, like, okay, that's a cool cover and all, but what are you truly up to, right? And so this is really our first taste in that regards, again, to learn a little bit more about the character. Clearly his obsession with not only getting the disc, but his connection with Naomi. I was completely off as to like who I thought he could be, the idea of him being a protector, but maybe going about it in like all the wrong negative sort of ways. But no, this guy clearly has maybe not the best certainly intentions when it comes to Naomi, enough for his other comrades to just be like, no, you get involved in that with yourself, don't get me involved sort of mentality. So it'd be cool to kind of see them further expanded. But we got ourselves yet another character, a brand new character introduced in regards to Zumbado's his little band of allies and comrades that he certainly has. So I was pretty appreciative of that. So and that's exactly what this series continues to do in regards to just expanding its story and really focusing on things in that regards. I mean, the mystery with the disc, on top of that, we got finally the revelation, if you will, from how her family was involved in all of this, at least to begin with, sort of thing. And I thought that was at least one of the other great themes of this episode, was just two things. One, the idea of Naomi and her family, and then two, really the idea of Naomi trying to navigate her life now, right? Getting the opportunity to kind of see her trying to maybe go on to college, having Hartford in mind, maybe the idea of not going to college. Who knows if that's kind of come up in her mind, or the idea of, maybe not necessarily wanting to go to Hartford or anything like that anymore. So I do like the idea of her trying to, especially with everything that she's learning about herself. This is a huge sort of seismic shift in her life. So I enjoyed the journey, at least to kind of see how Naomi handles the situation, just how the changes are definitely affecting her, especially when it comes to her schooling, and just really the idea of her relationship with her parents now, right? I kind of really enjoyed how this episode kicked off with them kind of going down memory lane, right? Two parents just very fond of their daughter, wanting to go ahead and remember the times and great memories over the years, sort of thing. That kind of hit a little bit close to home with me being a new father and experiencing fatherhood for the first time, wanting to take as many videos as you can, and pictures and things like that, right? So that when my kid is older, we have those sort of fond memories to kind of look back on. So it kind of choked me up a little bit, but I thought it did a really good job, at least in establishing the fact that they truly do care about their daughter, right? And with Naomi realizing that she's adopted and she's got a whole mysterious origin, I'm pretty sure there's probably some thoughts about who her original parents were as well, right? So even though she is in fact adopted, I thought it was just a great reassurance moment to know that the family at least truly does care, not just taking videos, but keeping little memorabilias and stuff of her life as she's gotten older and things like that. Because when you get that sort of opening to the episode, what it does in regards to the remainder of the episode, when you start seeing Naomi lying, right, and her parents maybe becoming more overprotective in regards to the punishment and talking about the dangers out there, you really start kind of seeing how loving their relationship is, but also the strain that's definitely coming with all the changes that are happening in Naomi's life. And I really enjoyed the moment that we get to see here of the reveal, the idea that Naomi comes down to apologize and at least be completely honest with them finally, which I was kind of hoping for that. Just based off of what we've seen with their relationship, it feels like, this isn't normal of Naomi. Maybe if she did just come out and tell her parents, they would probably understand or kind of help navigate her through this sort of thing, right? So I love the fact that she not only apologizes, but also is getting ready to be honest with them. And then they wind up cutting her off and eventually saying, look, we got some things we got to get off our chest too and let you know about what's kind of going on there too. Because I was kind of curious when they were sitting down, getting ready to ground her for not coming back at her curfew time at 6 p.m. When he starts saying it's getting dangerous out there, I'm like, what does he mean it's getting dangerous out there? And then when you realize, oh wait, are they about to reveal this? It's because he knows that the military is out there hunting aliens, and I'm pretty sure they're also curious about the fact of where she's been, and I'm pretty sure they're probably putting all together all the pieces, you know what I'm saying, in regards to what's been going on with her. So I thought it was pretty cool. Really great moment to kind of see Naomi see like the birthing stone. I don't know what we call that. Was she literally just hovering there when her parents came around? Like I hope we get some sort of flashback sequence of the family maybe pulling up to the side of the road, seeing that while they're driving by, discovering it, sort of thing. It definitely has a very Superman-esque feel to it, just minus the idea of a meteor coming down and crashing and them seeing it, sort of thing. Just this miraculous baby just kind of chilling there, right? So I thought it was a really cool reveal, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the conversation that her and her parents wind up having. And so that's what this series has done. I mean, the lack of special effects and the usage of powers, a hint of powers, which is pretty cool, but clearly a story that's driven on its story, its mystery, and its characters. And just a quick side honorable mention to all that, I am realizing just how important the supporting characters are, right? Like they're technically a team at this point. In the back of my head, I kept thinking Stargirl, but wait, they're not the JSA because they don't have superpowers. And then I started thinking to myself, oh, it almost reminds me of like Runaways, the Marvel TV series Runaways in the comic book series, but I'm like, but they don't, but this team doesn't have powers. But it just shows you like how involved that they certainly all are. They're not necessarily going to be supporting characters that come and go. We probably will see all these characters each and every episode getting into some sort of like adventure with her, if you will. So I really do appreciate the supporting characters and how they add to the series. They don't seemingly are overly annoying. I really like how everybody's personality and how they fit that particular group and things like that. So it definitely feels like we've got a Team Naomi here that's always going to be doing stuff with her each and every week, and I'm kind of down for it. And we did get to see a little bit more of Lourdes. Lourdes, I think of all the supporting characters, while definitely making a brief impact anytime that she has been on screen, she's probably been like the least focused, just kind of coming in last minute, if you will, to everything that's already been planned around her in time with the other characters. So in here, to be able to at least give us that moment, great chemistry with Naomi, if you ask me, when she winds up coming up to the bedroom to save Naomi from just boredom of being under punishment, and bringing up just a bunch of stuff for them to kind of go through. I really love the chemistry between the two of these ladies in here, and I am going to be very interested to kind of see how that relationship winds up building as the season progresses, because Naomi definitely seems like she's certainly interested, you know what I mean? But clearly she just had a boyfriend and things like that, so I think definitely giving given us a sense as to who Naomi certainly is as a person. But if anything, I will say when it comes to Lourdes, I love the fact that they let us in on what her situation is in her current life, right? I believe she says she's a high school dropout. Her dad wound up getting injured in the war, and I believe that's what pulled her out. So I'm assuming she's probably at home taking care of her dad, who can't unfortunately do so himself. But she is not only taking care of him, but also getting her GED, which I think Naomi mentioned that she was almost done in regards to actually getting it, making, kind of boasting about the idea like, hey, she's actually further ahead of us and when we are in our education sort of thing, even though she doesn't necessarily go to school. So I thought that was actually pretty cool, like acknowledgement, like I don't think we see many situations of like a high school dropout, somebody getting a GED, like not to say superhero, but just the idea of like, don't be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of really dig how they kind of portrayed Lourdes in here. But cool character. I'm going to be fascinated to see how she's certainly continued to be used. If there was anything else, just honorable mention wise, that I wanted to go ahead and bring up and talk about real quick, Easter eggs. For some reason, just going back to Zumbado and his ally or his comrade that we see in here, they're meeting each other at like this art festival or this art gallery. It looks like this art gala sort of thing. Really cool, like just motion video and stuff up on the wall. I really loved how they did that. But as they're walking by and they're standing in front of like this sculpture, if you will, when I look at the sculpture, for some reason, my mind went straight to Black Lightning. Like the same circular device that they put lightning in to get her back to like physical form. Is that the same machine? Like, I wonder if they just like, oh, we've got this prop. Like, what do we do with this? It felt like that was the Black Lightning machine for Jennifer to try and get her body back. If you guys get the opportunity to replay the episode, look at it. I have no way of checking Black Lightning, but I could probably try and find it. But I was kind of curious. I was like, is that the Black Lightning device? Because they're just reusing props at this point in time. Or was that meant to be it? You know what I'm saying? I was just kind of curious, just thinking to myself, like how any, if at all, some of these universes certainly might be connected. But I thought visually everything looked great in this week's episode. I really liked the director that wind up tackling in here. If I did have any disappointments, to be honest with you, it was probably the Annabelle and Naomi adventure that they went on. The idea to find this key. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the sleuthing, the solving crimes and solving, little detective notes and putting things together and going to find what you're looking for. Like, I kind of dig the sleuthing that's added to Naomi, just like that investigative, detective concept. It really works for me. I really have a good time doing it, or at least watching it. And so, like, that scene where they find the key under all the rubble, one is just way too convenient. Like, nobody else has discovered that. Like, you're literally like 5 feet from the entrance. I'm sure somebody's seen that before, right? But you happen to discover it. And then just the idea of like this huge, massive cave in. One, is security really going to be that lenient? Probably, let's be honest, right? But secondly, that was a huge, massive cave-in sort of thing. Like, is that not on the news? Did nobody call the paramedics, right? The firehouse, the security, like, just let these girls leave after surviving a huge tunnel collapse sort of thing, right? But none of that is broadcasted anywhere. They just get back to business, get back to whatever they were certainly doing sort of thing. So I did kind of chuckle about that. I was like, okay, whatever. But other than that, not too bad. Really enjoyed the episode. I really had a great time with it. I continue to love the mystery. And even the fact that who's from Thanagar, what do they call them then? Thanagarians? Is that what their race is referred to as? I got to look up like the politically correct term for those that come from the planet of Thanagar. But I kind of dig the idea that Naomi's going to be training with a Thanagar warrior, to be honest with you. I think that's actually pretty badass. So we're baby steps though, baby steps. But I think that's actually a pretty cool concept, especially with we eventually learn everything that Naomi could certainly do. We also got introduced to another character in Adam Blake. I wasn't really feeling him too much, honestly. Kind of informs them a little bit about the disc, right? Because we see Naomi doing the cool power trick to go ahead and take the disc from Zumbado's safe. Unbeknownst to her, Zumbado's just one step ahead and actually has a secret compartment with the real disc inside. And it's really the destruction of the disc and the laboratory over at the college that really gets them into trouble here in this particular week's episode. But you know, so for me, I really enjoyed the D stuff that we wind up getting. Cool concept of him training. Would like to see a little bit more of it, but really, yeah, my downside was probably the adventure with Naomi and Annabelle here this week. But outside of that, great stuff, man. I'm really going to be looking forward to how the remainder of this episode goes. I got to come back for episode 4. I definitely need to know just the secrets and the mystery and start connecting some of the pieces here. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a very interesting talk between parents and daughter in next week's episode. But look, I'm kind of curious to know how you guys feel. You know, again, not a lot of superheroing, right? But are you cool with that idea? You know, I'm curious if some people are bored, or you know, maybe it's too slow moving for you, or you guys really enjoying sort of the story, the characters, the adventures, and just the mystery that's kind of behind it. I'm really kind of curious to know what you guys think, because remember, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions, but I want to know yours. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And we'll definitely be here next week for a brand new episode of Naomi. And until then, guys, do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.